Welcome to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. 1962 was a great year, a very great year indeed, especially around these parts. That was the year that this sports car facility was opened. It's always been one of the favourites for drivers because they feel they can make a difference. Nestled in the hillside around Lexington, Ohio, it's a green and pleasant land, which means once in a while we do have to put up with a little bit of precipitation. You can't have this much greenery without a bit of rain. Closest of the large towns, Mansfield, Ohio, just up the road, and a circuit that has changed not at all down through the years. We're running the 2.250 mile configuration. The keyhole is the hairpin at the top of the hill, effectively turn 2. The cars will start at the little kink at turn 3 of the rolling start, then down into turn 4, and from turn 4 to turn 9, it's really one serpentine rush uphill and down dale before they run through Thunder Valley, through the kink and into the right-handed hairpin at the carousel before they pop out through the final corner and into our view again. The pit lane is clear. Let's just make sure that I can't quite see all of the pit lane. Continental Tire pit lane reporter Shea Adam with us. Everybody rolling?
I can see all the pit lane, and there are no cars here. All the IMSA officials going out to the white line, delineating the edge of all the pit boxes. We are getting ready to go. There will be one more lap behind the safety car before the green flag is waved.
But Jeremy Shaw is the other voice on our broadcast today. Jeremy?
Thank you, John. Thank you, Shea. There is one car that is out of position. The number 69 Motorsports in Action McLaren of Jesse Lazare had qualified in the 8th position, but he was in right at the back of the field as they left the pit lane. So I don't know why that would have been, but he wasn't in where he should have been on the grid. So he will have to start, I believe, from the back, yes, from the back of the pack. And that is the car to be co-driven by Corey Fergus, who's got a massive amount of experience from Columbus, Ohio, to all the early part of his racing career right here, along with his dad, John Fergus. Huge amount of success here at the track, but now he's got even more work to do to get his way through this field.
Yeah, I saw him sort of coming up the outside of the cars before they started to move. I can only imagine that he was late on parade into the pit lane and didn't make his spot in the ear of corn. Now that was slightly too far up that I could see from here, so I have to say I didn't manage to see that. As ever, Shea Adam, hearing the query, has gone down to find out what's happening. Shea?
And thank you to Mr. Johnny Knotts for the answer. What happened with the number 69 was it was late to the pre-grid because of a mechanical issue. They rolled the car out, and because of the echelon, they couldn't put it in its place. They moved it to the back of the class, which is where it will be starting.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you for that, and thanks, Johnny, and all of our IMSA officials. Also a good time to say thanks to our corner workers, track services, and all the volunteers here at Mid-Ohio. We couldn't go motor racing without what you do for us. And thank you very much indeed for that. 2 hours is on the clock. 2 hours are on the clock. And we are ready to go racing. Now, whether you're here at the track, certainly if you're a first-timer here at the track, and certainly for those people further afield, the start here is quite unlike anything else, because whilst the finish line and the stripe is right in front of us, that is not where the front of the grid, being Chad McCumbee and Alexander Premat in the 8 and 92 cars, the Ford and Mercedes, that's not where they'll first see the green flag. No, that will be on the run out of the keyhole, down the long back straight, effectively, through the kink at turn 3 to turn 4. And it is Dennis who is waving the flag on the far side. He's been sent out into Dingle Dell.
And Tenny,
sent out to long time ago. Dennis would tell you that. Our long-time flagger and start line marshal for IMSA competition, and coming over from Grand Dam, Tanny is the second of our starters, and she will wave the green flag at the starter stand. It's in hand. The front row is forming up. I expect to see a little bit of a gap between the GS and the TCR cars as they are lining up. And there is a little gap, but not very much.
I don't think these days they start them in line, I believe, John. The change up for this year.
And the clock has started. The clock started, of course, as they went across the line in front of us, but they won't get the green flag. Effectively, they're under full course yellow at the moment, so no passing, but it's a double wide start. The flag is in the hand of our starter. It's a good-looking grid of cars. Oh, the TCR's getting a little bit ragged. There's the green flag. The Grand Marshal waving it, and we are underway for the remainder of the 2 hours of the Mid-Ohio 120, and side by side into the first of the complex of corners. And the pole sitter just about holding on. Chad McCumbee and Alexander Premat dropping in behind in the dark red, almost maroon coloured. Then it's the McLaren of Paul Holton behind the two Mercedes-Benz under the Acura bridge for the first time. The TCR's got a relatively clean start as well. There is a break further down, up into 6th position, so dropping a couple of positions. Russell Ward just got mugged a little bit on the start, but he's being sensible as the rest of the huge GS field goes through. 24 GT3 cars making the start, and then the TCRs and the STs behind them as they come across the line. There goes the number 8 crossing the line now. Then the McLaren, then the Mercedes. McLaren up into second then, Alex. Right, okay, that hasn't updated on my timing screen yet.
The McLaren moved up into second place.
Yes, Paul Holton,
yeah.
And that's not showing on my timing screen. They're all showing a stopped on the circuit at the moment, which clearly isn't the case. My ears and eyes can tell me that. There's a drop of rain or two on the camera at the second corner at the keyhole, but a good start, Jeremy Shaw, for everyone across the line, and clean. That's what we wanted. Yeah. Means we get a good start to the race.
Absolutely right. It was a beautifully clean start and a great effort there by Paul Holton to move himself ahead of Alex Premat. Vastly experienced is Alex Premat in that car number 92, originally from France, but making his way home now in Henderson, Nevada, and he's been racing in the V8 Supercars and Supercar Series in Australia for the last several years, but now enjoying his racing here in North America. But he was overtaken there by Paul Holton, who is a former sports car champion, and he's now up into second place in that McLaren car number 76. There's a problem there for one of the minis.
Yes, looks like an issue on the left-hand side front. That is the, I think the 37, can't have been 37 and the 73, because they're the two red ones. And up to speed again now for that car. That's one of the ST runners across the line. They go. Just checking the lap time of that Mini and seeing what were the potential issue was for that car. It was Nate Norenberg who started in second position. No, he was in the 73, so it was the 37, wasn't it? Yes, it was Nate Norenberg. I thought it was. So he started in second. He'll be dropping down to the back of the field. McCumbee, Holton, Premat, Chase Briscoe. Russell Ward did lose a position, but only to 5th. Owen Trinkler in 6th now, then James Clay. So that's Ford, McLaren, Mercedes, Ford, Mercedes, Mercedes. And the numbers are 8, 76, 92, 15, 33, 46 and 82. Those are your top 7. Still waiting for that 37 Mini to come through. So that is a problem. Shea Adam and I both looking across to the end of the lap, and that Mini has not made it back around. So has he gone through?
Yeah.
Has he made one lap? Okay. So he has dropped to the tail of the field though. Nate, who started in second position in ST. Another lap soon to be completed. Cars coming out the final corner and cross the line now. 1:29.495 for the leader is the fastest lap of the race, and Chad McCumbee has pulled out 1.3 seconds on Paul Holton in second place in the McLaren number 76. Then it's Premat in the Mercedes number 92, the dark red car closing in on the black and orange McLaren as they go up the hill to the keyhole. Oh, a mistake by Russell Ward, just outbraked himself going into the keyhole and drops a few yards from the back of the Ford ahead of him, that being Chase Briscoe. But he has picked himself up, mainly helped by the fact that James Clay and Owen Trinkler behind him in the 46 Mercedes and the 82 BMW are having a heck of a scrap as they head down in the braking area for turn 4. And I think Clay got through. Yes, he did. So Clay has gone by Trinkler. Owen Trinkler starting the 46 car. All of these drivers handing over to their teammates at some stage during the race.
The most experienced driver in the field, in fact, in the history of this championship. This is a 142nd start for Owen Trinkler. He's got 9 wins to his name, and he's currently running in with the 7th position, having lost 6th to James Clay's BMW.
And Shea Adam can update us on Nate Norenberg and the 37 Mini, which dropped to the back of the field.
Nothing to worry about there. No problems there. The only problem was slightly cold tires. Thanks to Derek Jones for passing along the information.
You mean thanks to the co-driver for dubbing in his mate. That's a bit rough, isn't it? Cold tyres on the back of these front-wheel drive cars can make life a little exciting in the early laps, and just a quick spin there, but no harm, no foul, as the lead has gone through to complete another lap. And here come the TCR cars past us, led at the moment by Britt Casey Jr. in the number 77. Rodrigo Sales, who's been mighty this weekend, is up into second ahead of Michael Johnson, who started second and drops to third in the mostly red Audi. That's the 54 car.
He does, but Michael actually set the fastest lap in TCR last time, and it's closing in a little bit again on Rodrigo Sales. It's always difficult for Michael on the first couple of laps in the race because he has no feel whatsoever through most of his body, paralysed from the chest downwards. Just an incredible inspirational story is Michael Johnson, and he's running there in the 3rd position in car number 54, right behind number 74, Rodrigo Sales.
Great battle for second position. Chad McCumbee is pulling away from Paul Holton. He's got Alex Premat and Chad Briscoe. McLaren versus Ford versus Mercedes, actually versus Mercedes versus Ford. So a mid-engine car and 2 front-engine monsters sitting in behind him. Some of the best of British engineering into the carousel. Premat's left the door open. There's almost a touch as the 15 car closes right in. Chase Briscoe, who is getting some practice in for the Xfinity race here later in the year as part of his stock car racing schedule with Ford. As they head up the hill, nothing between the 3 of them. And the leader, Chad McCumbee, is getting the benefit of this battle because he's pulled away to 1.6 seconds. Fastest lap last time around by James Clay in the BMW number 82.
Yeah, and the previous fastest lap of the race on the previous lap was by Russell Ward in car number 33. That's a remarkable effort. Russell Ward doesn't have a lot of experience at all in anything, let alone this championship. He did do most of last season, or did all of last season, but driving a very different car now in the Mercedes for this season. And he's doing a fantastic job there in the 5th position ahead of James Clay.
James Clay in the new for this year BMW M4 GT4. The Bimmer World Racing team staying true to their Bavarian roots. I think that means that we have 3 different BMW race cars here this weekend, because we've got the M8, don't we, the GTE.
M6.
The M6, the GT3, and the M4 as the GT4. And I wonder if shortly we will have an M1 TCR car. News from the officials. Car 38 is going to take a penalty. Jump start. Jump start then, that will be a drive-through for the BGB Motorsports, Dylan Murray and James Cox, Porsche Cayman. So that's going to put them out of kilter, sitting in 20th position for James at the moment. Spin for the 26. Oh, dear me. Just been talking about these guys doing so well. And out of turn 1, halfway up the hill, the 26 car facing right across the track at right angles with a lot of Continental Tire rubber left on the road. Now he was under pressure. Oh, just went too wide coming out of turn 1, under pressure from the 69. And that was nearly a very much bigger accident. And
it was Bryce Ward, wasn't it, taking evasive action there?
It was Ray Mason, yeah, who was going around. And Bryce Ward did a pretty good job following through there. He was a couple of cars back. Jesse Lazare was the 69 McLaren who was right on his tail, but there was no question of any shenanigans there. Lazare not close enough to have affected that car, but it looks as though it's pointing in the right direction and moving again. 76 across the line. Paul Holton now 1.8 seconds in arrears of Chad McCumbee, who disappears through turn 1 and up the hill. And the only thing I think that's helping Paul Holton at the moment is that Chase Briscoe and Alex Prema are having a cracking scrap for third position. Oh, 75's gone off at 9. Driver's right. Now, was that a little touch? That's Roy Block in the Audi TCR car. May just have been the back end getting a little bit loose. Oh, he tried to go up the inside of the Audi. And that would have been the Siegel Audi, wouldn't it? The 39 car. Yes, it was. So just what I said, Mark Siegel for Carbahn Motorsports at the back of the GS field, and the faster cars in TCR were halfway up in terms of their lap times, the GS field. I think we either have to have a bigger space or we have to start the cars in the order that they're qualified.
Just makes it exciting, though, I tell you what.
Oh yes, it does, no doubt. A couple of people asking if the Bryce Ward car went off when it was avoiding. I don't think so. Up into 17th position.
Yeah, lost a couple of places, perhaps, or certainly some momentum, but I think he's running just fine.
May have had to take to the grass.
He definitely had to take to grass, yeah.
Shea Adam in the pit lane.
The reason that I thought that might be a possibility, John, was because the team just started scrambling to try and get stuff ready for a pit stop. They have the fuel hose prepared at the back of the car, but they also have the catch can to release air from the other side, and they have that air hose that they use to get the dandelions out of the front when they're here.
Continental liked on the dandelions. They make tyres from them. You think I'm joking? Go to continentaltires.com.
Number 38 car serving its penalty.
That was for the jump start. So James Cox from Florida will drop down. Get it out the way early, that's what I always say. Nearly 2 seconds, McCumbee at the head of the field, and Paul Holton has a line of cars now that stretches back to Stephen McAleer in 8th position.
Yeah, they're definitely all concertinaing, aren't they? That little pack of cars.
McAleer just getting on the back of Russell Ward, who has Owen Trinkler ahead of him. So that's the number 5 Porsche. A white and blue car. White and light blue. Ahead of him is Owen Trinkler in the 46 Mercedes, which is the blue bonnet. Then the dark grey with the fluorescent stripe on the side ahead of Owen. Sorry, that's Russell Ward. Owen is the dark grey. And Clay's got past Prema. Clay's got past Prema. And also... Oh, and also Chase Briscoe's gone by as well. So Alex Prema's dropped 2 positions now. And immediately on the attack up the inside. Oh dear! Chase Briscoe puts the fender on 2nd place Paul Holton, and that will be a penalty for the stock car man. 2 wheels on the grass, nowhere near. He wanted to get that done quickly, I understand why, but he was nowhere near making that pass. And that wasn't rubbing, that was an all-out assault.
No, you might get away with it in NASCAR, because I think even in NASCAR you get pinged for that. Certainly will here. That was a
that was a misjudgment.
It was inexperience there from Chase Briscoe. He's been super fast all weekend, doing a really good job, but unfortunately his enthusiasm just got a little bit the better of him there. Went for a gap that really didn't exist.
A gap that didn't exist in the first place and was closing from non-existence to nothing. That has left James Clay in the wheel tracks of the Ford.
There's a great battle going on in ST, by the way. Nick Galantis pulling away, but Ted Giovannis, number 4 GS Mercedes, is struggling to hold off the rest of the TCR field, ST field, which is absolutely all together.
Where has Chase Briscoe gone? He was right up on the curb and beyond it, locked up the wheels, and Did he get going again? Has he got a problem? Got a good run, and it was stout defence by the
place.
76 as Paul Holton gave him a bit of room on the inside, but Chase, I think the curtains moment was when Chase put the two wheels on the grass. The 76 car is in the pit lane, and Shea Adam is there.
A split right down the middle of the Compass logo in the nose of this car is not the only damage that they're worried about, though. The mechanics making sure that the suspension front and rear is good, and the right-hand side of the car showing definite scuff marks. This car has been in a brawl. It's absolutely a mugging, John. You hit the nail on the head with that one. But Paul Holton staying behind the wheel. The crew is assessing the damage, deciding what needs to be done. Paul fires back up the car. The incident is under review, and they are taking the air jacks off without doing any further work. So they are either going to let him go or go back to the garage. I'll be able to tell you in just a second. They're moving out slowly as Paul exits his pit lane. And he goes back out to the fast lane. Nope, he's indicating he's behind the wall. So that is effectively any shot at them getting a win today. That is over. And John, we've also had another exciting in the pit lane. Dennis Paul has made it back from Narnia from throwing the green flag.
Yeah, Dennis, one of our two starters that we were talking about at the beginning of the race. He is back. So bad news for Compass. They are in behind the wall. Chad McCumbee leads by 3.2 seconds. James Clay for BMW, the Bimmer World 82 M4 in second place. Then Alex Premar back up to third in the 92, the dark red Mercedes. Owen Trinkler now in fourth in the dark grey 46 TGM Mercedes. Fifth place for Russell Ward in the 33 Winward Motorsport with HTP. Sixth place for the first of the Porsches, Stephen McAleer in the number 5 Body Motion racing car that he shares with Joe Robillard. In TCR, Britt Casey Jr. is leading, and he's right up the tailpipes of the 09 Aston, the two automatic Astons, automatic racing Aston sitting in 18th and 19th position, and the TCR leader is right with them, and this will be slightly frustrating for the Compass Racing 77 driver Britt Casey Jr. because he's all over the Astons in the corner and can't get anywhere near them down the straights. But he has got the Mason BMW, the 26 car, Ray Mason, in the classic BMW, the dark red BMW, which spun earlier on. He has got him running interference for him with Salas and Johnson there. Drive-through for the 15. No surprise at all on the face of this commentator for that. And Shea Adam has, I'm afraid, the other side of the story, and it's not good news from the 76 McLaren pit.
Day is done for them. They have started to put the fresh Continental tires away and pack up their helmets. They are mad, John, and you can understand why.
Yes, I can. Absolutely.
Yeah, from a guy who's not even doing the full championship there to take out one of the rivals who is going for a championship is not what is expected of these drivers. So Chase Briscoe there will be quite rightly chided by that opposition team.
And might have to have a little word with the race director afterwards as well. Let's not forget this is a man who is very highly thought of by Ford, and you know he's had good pace. Let's not, you know, and is it a momentary lapse of concentration? You know, possibly.
No, it's exuberance is what it is.
Youthful
I think,
exuberance.
Yeah. And,
but you've got to think that this is a 2-hour race.
No, and NASCAR racing is no different when you're on a road course. You've still got to be patient. You've got to choose your time to make your passes. But he clearly didn't there, and he went for a pass that was never going to be on.
He may have learned a very, very important lesson for when the Xfinity Series comes here later on in the year.
The race leader, by the way, on that last lap was really held up coming through the final couple of corners by one of the slower cars, and lost 2 seconds of his lead over James Clay, who's now up into second place, and is using that momentum to stay within a second and a half of the race leader, that BMW number 82. He started in 7th, now up to second.
And that's the best part of a couple of seconds that has gone in the last couple of laps. It was 3.4, now down to 1.4. That battle for the lead.
The other guys that are making a good charge is Jesse Lazare. We talked talked about him at the beginning, having to start from the back of the pack in car number 69.
Good
That's the
point.
Motorsports in Action McLaren. So it's bad news for one McLaren. The Compass Racing car is out of the race, but number 69, having started last, is now up into 11th position. And Jesse, the former Porsche GT3 Cup champion, tried to make a move, or trying to make an impression now on Jack Rouse Jr., who's just ahead of him. In fact, there's a whole string of cars there.
Issue for James Cox, 38 Porsche.
Had a drive through earlier on for the jump start.
And it's not driving at all well at the moment. The car, I think, has no drive at all.
And they had a transmission problem yesterday.
Yes, they did.
Changed the transmission overnight on that car. A big vibration yesterday. Don't think he's even going to make it to the pit lane.
He's so close to the pit lane entry. Get it in gear and hit the starter. Get it out of the way. He's right on the outside of the carousel. And if that car can't move, cycle everything through. Race control will be watching. And if that car can't move, it will have to be a yellow flag. Now we are only full course yellow. Pits are closed. And we are only, we've got an hour and 38 to go. So we're only 22 minutes into the race, Jeremy, and that's not enough to do a driver change, is it?
No, it isn't. The minimum drive time is 45 minutes in this race in order to be eligible for points, championship points. So it's way too early to be thinking about a pit stop for these contenders.
Just go down to Shane a moment. Just watching Russell Ward up into 6th after having put the fastest lap in. Tested here 3 weeks ago. Got extra seat time in the Blancpain Asia Series at Sepang. He won one race there and finished 3rd in the other.
Now the number 38 car's made it into.
Of course it has.
It's Sod's law, isn't it?
It is indeed the law of Sod. Shea Adam.
Talking about strategy and saying it's way too early for a pit stop. Well, there are a couple of teams up and down the pit lane who are going to gamble. I was speaking with Al Carter a bit earlier on when the race was getting started, and he said, you know what? It's Kentucky Derby Day. Why not bet on the underdogs? They might come in, do a short fill. They might take 2 tires. They might take no tires, but they are looking to try and take advantage of track position gained from the pit lane as opposed to out on track. They're realistic. They realize that passing about 20 cars probably isn't going to happen, but they know they can do it if their pit stops are a little bit faster.
That's actually sound thinking.
It is for the guys at the back of the pack.
Yeah.
Come in now, take on fuel. So when you come in to make your driver change, you don't need to take on a full tank of fuel. You've still got to make the driver change then, because you can't do that now because you haven't completed enough time during the race. But certainly a good gamble worth taking by some of the contenders further down the order. And of course, for the restart, there will be that class split again, I believe. So even though by making the pit stop, the GS cars will fall behind some of the other class cars in TCR and or ST, they will be able to move back past them for the restart and take the restart at the back of the field in GS. So you really won't be losing anything at all by making a pit stop.
Under our first full course yellow, and the safety car is on the circuit. Chad McCumbie's lead was coming down anyway because he'd been mired in a bit of traffic, but it'll now disappear. This is good news for some of the GS cars who've been passed by the TCR hordes. They will get to go back around if we do a reset on the field. No pass around, just come through from race control. There will be no pass around.
No.
So it looks to me as though we're going to go back to green fairly quickly.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because there's no cars that are positioned between the safety car and the individual class leaders. So everybody in each of the classes is still on the same lap with each other. So no need for a pass around.
Well, we're inside the first 30 minutes. Could we have had a quicker yellow? I think we possibly could. The pits have been opened though for the GS classes. Let's see who comes into the pit lane. There's 1 or 2 drivers that are opening visors and beginning to slacken off seat belts. Shea Adam, does it look like we're going to have any takers at the GS time of asking?
Oh yeah. We're going to have some GS pit stops. The Murillo Racing guys are up on the wall for both the 56 and the 65, but it will not be a driver change for either of those cars yet. We have movement down at Compass for when TC cars come in, TCR cars, excuse me. The Audi R8 will be coming in as well, and the pit boards are just starting to lower. The Bimmer World BMW, the number 82, driven by James Clay, will be coming in the pit lane. And now the 38 begins to roll. The BGB Motorsport Porsche that had made it back into the pit lane, it goes back into the fast lane. Not sure if it's going behind the wall, but we have pit stops. The number 5 Porsche comes in fuel only for Stephen McAleer. It will be fuel only for James Clay in the BMW as well. They are doing tires and fuel for the 7-volt machine driven by Alan Brynjolfsson. And the RS1 Porsche is also getting tires and fuel. Down toward the other end of the pit lane, the Mustangs from Core are doing fuel only on the 60, fuel and tires on the 59. The 92 Mercedes, driven by Alexander Prema, fuel and tires as well for the number, what number is that? 15. It looks like they are going to be doing fuel. I'll have to see if they put the car up on the air jacks. They do not. They are doing fuel only for the Ford, fuel only for Owen Trinkler. The pit lane is the number 5, the Porsche of Stephen McAleer, followed out by the 60. And no, it's Owen Trinkler. Owen Trinkler gets out second in the 46. Then we find the 60, and one of the other Mustangs makes it out. We are doing a long fuel on the number 09 Aston Martin, but it was a shorter fill for the number 99. A long pit stop for the number 39 Audi with some significant damage to the right-hand side of that car. The 15 Chase Briscoe still in the pit lane. They are working on the left-hand side of that car as it is up on air jacks. I think they did decide to go with tires. Might be left side only for that car after all. And the only car still in is the Volt Racing Ford Mustang. That was Alan Brynjolfsson who brought it in, and he will be taking it out with 4 new sticker Continental tires. He's having a little bit of trouble getting it engaged in gear, though, to be able to roll up that very steep hill that his pit box is at the bottom of. Here he goes. And now 15, car number 15, that is Chase Briscoe going back behind the wall. So clearly the team not happy with the state of the left side of that Mustang.
The left side being the side that had the contact with the 76 McLaren of Paul Holton, and that car is out of the race, the 76 that is. Great run, great pit lane strategy for TGM, STM, and Owen Trinkler up to 4th position, I think. Let's see how it shakes out. It depends who stopped and who didn't further down. No, he's going to drop down. ST and TCR cars are coming in. Any takers, Shay?
Yes, our leaders from both categories. The number 81 BMW, the ST category leader came in. That is fuel only for Nick Gallant. But for the 77 and 75 TCR cars from Compass Racing, it is going to be fuel for the 77. Brett Casey Jr. staying behind the wheel and then will be sent back out. For Roy Block in the 75, it is fuel, and at the very least, they are doing right front and I think it was left front. They might have done front tires only on that car. Britt Casey Jr. powers back into gear, and the Volkswagen was the other TCR car that came down the pit lane, the only other car that made it down, actually, and they are doing fuel only. Yep.
Take a breath, Jay.
Front tires only for the Audi.
Okay, front tires only for which Audi?
75, that's Roy Block.
And the big loser there was number 82 Ramsey Racing Mercedes that did change drivers. So Mark Ramsey has taken over the wheel. He will now do kind of the middle stint of the race, and then it'll be up to Alex Prema to finish that car, to take the finishing duties later on in the race.
And how long does a driver have to do?
45 minutes. So,
right, so that's just less than a stint.
Yes.
Just on a stint,
yes,
really.
just less than a stint, that's correct.
So what they are gambling on here is that he's in that car now, and somewhere about the time, or just after the time that he needs to change, there'll be a yellow flag, and then you put Prema in, having slapped him around with a piece of raw meat and told bad stories about his family. You put him in to tear through the field at the end with a new set of Contis on. That's the general idea, isn't it?
That would be about the plan.
Yes, I think so.
So of the leaders, then, well, of most of the top contenders, Chad McCumbee, the race leader, the only guy to stay out. And
that's put Russell Ward into 2nd place, and Russell has shown some good pace in that 33 Winward HTP Mercedes.
He really has. Number 69 McLaren is now up into 3rd position as well.
Yes, and so, you know, that's all right because they started right at the back. We're going to split the class now. and allow the TCRs and the STs to drop to the back of the field. And so all the GS cars will start together again. The Minis, who are at the Minis stayed out, of course. So Nate Nordenberg, who was dead last, is now leading ST. And the Minis didn't get the memo. They were side by side, the 73 and the 37, going up to the keyhole, making it slightly difficult for some of our GS contenders to go by. This could get a little bit untidy. This will take a lap or so to sort it out. Teams on the radio. If you wonder how this gets organised, by the way, IMSA can send messages to all of the teams on pit lane in text form. And then the engineers on the pit wall relay that to their drivers. Still just a half an hour completed, so plenty of racing still to come. Live from trackside, IMSA Radio, IMSA TV, together. Good afternoon. Just coming up to 10 minutes before 3 o'clock this Saturday, the first of 2 packed race days. And our feature race today is the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge Round 3 of 2018 for the Mid-Ohio 120 here at the SportsCar course at Lexington, Ohio. Great to be back here. Love the countryside around here. Now the safety car lights on the Honda NSX are extinguished, so Chad McCumbee will take control of the field. And the Minis are still in the middle of the GS category, as is the Porsche, I think. Yes, the 21 Porsche in there as well. So the class split was partially done. Not sure that's worked out exactly how everybody expected it to, but Nate Nordenberg is leading ST. They must be a lap off the lead. Yes, they are. They're the first cars a lap off the lead lap, and now it's going to get very messy indeed to the keyhole on the restart. At one stage, we had 3 cars across the track, side by side, and oh, again, the classic BMW getting onto the grass, and I'm not sure it came back on again. That car was in the wars earlier on with a spin. How far did it drop back down?
Yeah, quite a few positions. I think he was able to keep going again.
Alan Brynjolfsson is going to get a drive-through penalty. He's already down in 19th position in the Volt Mustang. Spinning the wheels whilst up on the jacks. It's a no-no.
Yeah, and he was the guy who pulled out of his pit stall, went a few yards, and then lost the fire and had to fire it up again and lit up the wheels trying to get going again. So a bit of frustration there for Alan Brynjolfsson. It's a battle for second place as Russell Ward comes to under increasing pressure from the young Canadian Jesse Lazar.
Lazar made his name in Porsche GT3 Cup racing, part of the IMSA Development Series. That series here this weekend thinks about a look down the inside into turn 1, but that's not going to happen quite there. James Clay is the first of the cars that have stopped, and he's back up into 4th position. McAleer and Trinkler also having stopped effectively behind him. Here comes Brynjolfsson into the pit lane, goes past us on the pit lane speed limit. Looks like a Monday morning traffic jam going up to the keyhole. Very colourful one, in fairness. 28 right in the mix at the moment, the Porsche of Dylan McAvan. And he heads down towards turn number 4 with cars of every colour and manufacturer ahead of him, it would seem. Pretty decent bunch behind him as well. Oh, and there's a slight mistake. The 65 trying to get round the outside of some of the slower cars. They stopped, of course, so they were mixed in with what was going on.
Yeah, it was Brent Mosey there in car number 65. Yeah. He was up inside the top 10, took the restart in 5th position. Lost a couple of places on the restart, but still did a fine job there.
Clipped, I think, Mike Lamara in the Mini was the car that he just had a little clip in going round drivers left, the long way around effectively into turn number 4. Lamara is second in ST at the moment and trying to stay out of trouble. Nate Norenberg through the carousel has got cars either side of him for a moment, comes out on the start-finish straight, and the Core Racing Mustang, number 59 of Jack Roush Jr., goes by him. He's already a lap down, so there's no point in Nate fighting, and he hasn't got the tills to do that with the GS cars, the GT4 cars, of course. But what he's trying to do at the moment is stay out of trouble and stay leading the ST category, and he's managed to do that for that bunch of cars, but he's got another gaggle coming up behind him. Meantime, in TCR, Rodrigo Sales, who did not stop, is leading in the 74 Compass Audi.
Yeah, and he's got the Aston Martin, GS class Aston Martin, in between himself, Rodrigo Sales, and Michael Johnson, now in second place, or remains in second place in car number 54 for JDC Motorsport.
Michael Johnson back up into second, and he has not stopped. Then the 11 behind, then Brooke Casey Jr. putting a lot of pressure on at the moment as they come to put a lap on Mike Lamara in the second place ST Mini. Danger time for all concerned. Mike Lamara just holding his line through 9, exactly the right thing to do. He's got Astons and TCRs and all kinds of cars trying to get round him as he comes to the end of the lap. Back end of the Mini popping and lifting wheels. Crosses the line now, that battle. Now heading up the hill, and Lamara now has Michael Johnson behind him in the 54 with the, and that's the second place TCR car, and right in behind him is Don Istuk. And they're having a scrap for second and third, and Britt Casey Jr. is not that far behind either. So second, third and fourth for TCR absolutely together and coming through traffic. At the head of the field, Chad McCumbee has once again made good his escape, Jeremy, and has pulled out to a second and a half. And Russell Ward has managed to withstand the pressure of Jesse Lazare that we saw in the restart, and he's got a second and a half over the McLaren in third.
He has indeed. So a very good restart for Russell Ward there. I'm surprised that Jesse wasn't able to make a move.
I think it just takes the Russell or the Mercedes or both a little while longer to get the heat into the tyres. It was the same early on, if you remember. Russell dropped a place or two, but then was very strong indeed and set the fastest lap of the race.
He did for one lap, yes.
Yeah. Now, there's been an issue for the number 4 Mercedes-Benz. That's the Team TGN of Ted Giovannis and Guy Cosmo. It's Ted in the car. He's got damage to the right-hand door, and he's been off the track as well, and bits of the car is falling off. And 38 car getting a penalty. Now, this is an interesting one. This is the James Cox and Dylan Murray PGP Motorsports again. Fire extinguisher not properly manned at the pit stop, so that will be a drive-through. Improper pit procedure. Meantime, one of the bad boys of earlier on is back onto the pit lane, Shea.
And back out of it as Chase Briscoe exits the pit lane, so the 15 back in action.
And Don Istuk has come down the pit lane in the number 11 Audi. Now, that would be odd to, well, no, it's not driver change for RS Works Racing. What's happening, Shane?
Well, they pulled the pit board out as I was walking by, and they are now hitting the right side of the car to make sure that all the body panels are actually fully attached. They didn't have the fuel nozzle ready or a driver change ready to go. There is a secondary driver, that is Mikey Taylor, standing in the back, but they are sending him back out.
And an incident out on the circuit, the 77 of Britt Casey Jr. has been spun around.
Oh, and that's the downside to making a pit stop early on. That was the leader in the TCR class. They came on the pit lane, rejoined then, kind of in traffic in the middle of the field, and has got spun around.
I think it was the Istuk car that hit him actually, and that's probably why he's come in. It was a significant contact, enough to spin Britt around. Yeah, confirmed. Car 11 and 77 incident under review. So putting 2 and 2 together and actually making 4 for once. It's unusual for me, in fairness, I know before you see it. We are 4 minutes away from pit stops that could be undertaken to change drivers. 3 across the start-finish line as they go past us and into turn 1, down the inside. Gee, these TCR cars have got a lot of grip, Jeremy. Britt Casey Jr., having recovered from the spin, right on the back of Kieran O'Rourke and the 75 Compass car, right blocked behind the wheel of that. And Britt is clearly very confident, goes up the inside of the 73 Mini, second place in ST. Check that, third place in ST for Mike Lamara now, because Jason Rabe has gone through in the Porsche, the 21 Porsche, now up to second in ST for the Body Motion Racing car. Max Faulkner to get in that car later on. I want to see more of these TCR cars. I really do. Bring them. Different body shapes, don't mind. Let's have them all. The Alpha's allowed to be here. I want the Giulietta in, please. That'd be fantastic. We had one at the Balance of Performance test in December at Daytona, so it's signed off, it's on the IMSA list. There's a Hyundai and a Kia. Honda, the new Honda. That's ready to go as well. Please, somebody, please, please. All of those branches of those car companies in the US, you get a lot of coverage, and the cars are great, the racing is fantastic. And endurance racing is, I think, where these TCRs need to be. I quite like them in the sprint races, but they are a weapon in endurance races. They are so quick, so good to drive. McCumbee still at just 1.8 seconds from Russell Ward, 8 from 33, 4 from Mercedes.
And lapping very consistently around about 1 minute 30 seconds. Before the caution period, he was lapping in just below 1 minute 30, 1:20. 29.3, 29.4, 29.8. After since the caution, he's only done one lap, just fractionally below 1 minute 30. That's probably primarily a result of the fact this Ford Mustang GT4 is a pretty heavy car. It weighs in at 1,515 kilograms compared, let's say, to the Porsche Cayman GT4 MR, which is 200 kilos lighter.
Into the pit lane, drive through for the 11. Donestuk has taken that, in fact, already. Just saw him disappearing out of my sight line from the IMSA broadcast centre here. An hour and 17 minutes still to go. Shea Adam in 90 seconds, i.e. about another lap. We will have the pit lane window open for anyone who wants to make driver changes. Who is likely to do that, if anyone?
Well, one car in particular really wants to get into the pit lane, and that is the number 4, the Team TGM car, Guy Cosmo, ready to go. He put his helmet on, and he was looking like somebody's been slapping him around with a large piece of steak, because he is willing to get out there and do as much recovery as he can. That car already down 1 lap. They have fuel and tires ready to go on the Mercedes.
Yeah, and it's going to be awfully difficult to come back from a lap down. By the way, here comes the Compass Racing McLaren back onto pit lane, so they're many, many laps down, but hats off to that Compass Racing team for getting that car out of the garage area and perhaps back out into the race.
Yeah, and the 15 rejoined as well with Chase Briscoe behind. That was the car that was at fault for those cars having to go behind the pit wall. So well done to the Compass Racing guys, because we thought that they might be out of the race. 28 Porsche.
Number 33 car is a lot closer to the race leader now.
Yes, about 0.8 of a second last time around.
Yeah.
Now just on a second. Just noticing the 28 as it went by us. Dylan Matcheva in the Porsche has dropped a couple of positions down to 10th now. But he drives a long way back from the wheel, and down the straights he's sitting with his hands at the bottom of the steering wheel. Almost looks around some of the corners as if he's having to stretch to turn the wheel. Looks like he's a bit far away for my liking. And he's not a short lad either. He's got long arms, so I'm not sure if the seat's perhaps a little bit too far back from him. Right ahead of him, he's got the Ford of Nick Stacey, and then Bryce Ward in the 57 Mercedes, who's got a little bit of grass in the lower grille, but Bryce is driving very well in 8th position. Been very impressed with how he's attacked, or should I say approached, because it hasn't always been attacked. He's just got there, found a pace that he likes, and then stuck with it.
Yeah, done a great job. That's Dad, of course, to Russell Ward running in 2nd place. Russell closing in on Chad McCumbee. Chad McCumbie's just done a 29.9 last time around. Once again, he lost a little bit of ground to Russell Ward. But Bryce Dad in 8th place. That's a great effort. He's holding off now Nate Stacey, who's just found a way past the championship leader Dylan McIvern. That's number 60 Ford, ahead of number 28 Porsche Cayman.
Yeah, Dylan lost a couple of positions a couple of laps ago. Bryce went through as well, so I don't know if Dylan made a mistake. But
no, Bryce was ahead of him in any case.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was just the one place he lost then. Okay,
Yeah.
I noticed him dropping down the timing screen. Bryce Ward not looking too much in his mirrors, driving his lines. There is a little bit of a dent in the right rear of the normally immaculate Winward Racing HTP Motorsport Mercedes into the keyhole. I like what Bryce is doing into the keyhole. He takes an early apex to the first part of the corner so nobody can get up the inside of him, and then lets the car breathe in the middle of the corner and pulls it back for the second apex, almost making 2 corners out of it. Makes him very difficult to pass, and the Mercedes is quick in a straight line. He's braking nice and in a straight line for the stopping areas, and it's making it difficult, nigh on impossible, for Nate Stacey in that number 60 Core Racing Mustang, which is the dark red with black, making it nigh on impossible for him to get by. Behind that, the Porsche. Behind that, the BMW. No, check that. Behind that, another Ford, then the BMW in 12th position. At the top, by the way, we've got Ford leading by 1.3 seconds. Russell Ward just putting a cracking 3rd sector to hold on the leader. So 8 Ford, 33 Mercedes, 69 McLaren start at the back of the GS field, 82 BMW, that's 4 different manufacturers, and 5 Porsche for Stephen McAleer. 5 different manufacturers in the top 5. Side by side through turn 1, and the position has gone for Bryce Ward. 8th position, Nate Stacey goes through, excuse me, Nate.
Good battle in TCR.
Oh,
Michael
there's
Johnson.
problem at the keyhole, down the inside. That's the 28 car, the Porsche, Dylan McIvern, who is side by side with the Ford.
Good respect there between those two, giving himself just enough room.
Yeah, that's the 59 car that they're battling against, and this is all in behind Bryce Ward, who is just driving his lines exactly as he should do. Sorry, Jeremy, interrupted you. You were about to make a point.
Was I? Forgotten, to be honest.
Right, we are.
It's all right. Well, I tell you what, what's interesting is that the race leader has certainly upped his pace.
He has.
Last couple laps, 29.5 last time around. Comes across the line now to complete lap 30. This time it's a 29.6. So he's found half a second as we're getting fairly close. Well, yeah, fairly close to pit stops, I would think, for the leaders. We've just seen the number 4 car came in. Shay talked about that a while ago. Sted Giovannis handing over to Guy Cosmo, but he's going to be a lap down and very little hope of making that back.
Yeah, that has happened. Guy's just out on his outlap at the moment as we just come down to 49 minutes completed. It's 45 for any driver. That means that Guy is in the race to the end now.
Ray Mason's doing a nice job too in car number 26, the veteran driver, just up into the 13th place, found a way past Jeff Mosing on that last lap. And for Ray Mason here, making his first start in the season, he's got a huge amount of experience in this series in the past, but for 71 years of age, it's pretty remarkable what the job he is doing, I think, running just outside the top 10 in now 13th position. But to pass someone like Jeff Mosing is pretty stout.
Yeah, and he did a 30.5 last time around, and his best lap times are 29.8.
Yeah.
Now, you know, the leader's best lap times are 29.3.
It's amazing.
So he's, you know, he is only in the best of conditions half a second off the pace of Chad McCumbee. James Clay turning up the heat on Jesse Lazare as he tries to close in on 3rd position. None of the top 3 have yet pitted. James Clay effectively the leader of the... is not just effectively, he is the leader of the pit stoppers.
As we talked about Ray Mason, he's off the road, unfortunately.
Oh dear. That's not the first time for Ray. He got a little mistake out of turn 1 earlier on, didn't he? And ended up facing in the wrong direction, and then took a little grassy moment when he was trying to get out of the way of everybody coming out of the keyhole. So Ray's going to drop a few places there. Jeff Mosing will go through. Both of the Astons, I think, went through there as well. In TCR, the leader, Rodrigo Sales, has Michael Johnson now for company. These two barely half a second apart. And the leader, I think, is going to peel off in the pits, and does. First and second, in fact, no, first and third into the pit lane. So, now who was that? Oh, no, that was Istuk coming into the pit lane. Right, that was Istuk coming into the pit lane, who was nearly a lap down. Shea Adam is watching the pit stop of our TCR leader.
Driver change time for the number 74 as Salas gets out, and it is Kuno Whitmer getting in. They actually have the same helmet colors. That's very interesting. I didn't notice that before. They are doing fuel and tires for this number 74 car. For the sister car, the 77, when they came in under the caution, they did a splash of fuel because they think that there's a possibility of going down a lap under green flag stops, doing a full fuel fill. So we'll have to pay attention to where the 74 filters back out. Driver change is nearly complete. They changed the front tires only on this number 74. Fuel still going in. Kuno being told to wait patiently. Fuel nozzle goes out, and Kuno leaves.
Right, so basically they put the amount of fuel in that it took them to change the drivers, and not much more for that car. Michael Johnson leads TCR, Jeremy.
He does.
Needs a pit stop, of course.
And he was right with the leader.
He was closing in, Jeremy, actually.
Yeah, it was a good little battle that was going on there between those couple of cars at the front of the field in TCR.
Right, we've had a few pit stops, some planned, not so much. Here's how they stand, with an hour and 8 minutes still to go. Nate Norenberg from the back after having a little spin earlier on, leads ST in the 37 Mini, from Jason Raab in the 21 Porsche, and Nick Gallant in the BMW is third. So 3 different ST cars in the top 3 positions, and they're separated by about 6 seconds, that top 3. In TCR, Michael Johnson has not yet stopped but leads, and he's up to 16th overall, having fought his way past a goodly number of GS cars again. It looks like Kuno Whitmer might come out the best of the cars that have stopped. That's the 74 that Donistuk got, that went in earlier on. Donistuk has handed over his 11 car, and that is now in the hands of, is that Mark Taylor?
No, Mikey Taylor.
Mikey Taylor, yeah. Yes, Mikey Taylor, excuse me, coming back to racing, as you mentioned earlier on. The 74 car was Rodrigo Sales, who's handed over to Kuno Whitmer, but they're going to drop down now because second will be Brooke Casey Jr. in the 77 Audi. Roy Block will be third, and Kieran O'Rourke will be fourth in that Audi-dominated category. The Volkswagen, by the way, has just pitted, and that will be the changeover then from Luke to Tanner Rumberg. At the head of the field, McCumbee by 2 seconds exactly. The number 8 Ford from the 33 Mercedes, Russell Ward, after a breakout season last year, is continuing to build his reputation and his experience for Winwood Racing HTP Motorsport. He's got about 1.5 seconds on Jesse Lazare, who isn't really gaining at all. They're trading tenths of seconds here and there. Jesse in the 69 McLaren. James Clay is just 0.5 second back from Lazare and beginning to make Lazare look in his mirrors. The 82 BMW M4 then in 4th position. Stephen McAleer has dropped back a little bit now and is 4 seconds away from that battle for 3rd and 4th in the number 5 Porsche.
Yeah, you're right. It's the BMW there, James Clay, that's the guy on the move amongst the leaders. They're closing in onto the tail of Jesse Lazare and trying to find a way past him. And Jesse Lazare, that's the car that's out at the back of the field. Remember, after the problems even getting to the grid, he's worked his way up to 3rd place. He did not, one of the cars that did not pit before at the first caution period, but will be in fairly soon now.
Penalty for the automatic racing Aston Martin. more than permitted people over the wall working on the car. That'll be a drive-through penalty, and they are serving it now, in fact. So I see them go by, and going across the line in front of me as I looked across there was a fantastic battle for 9th. Bryce Ward in the 57 Mercedes, Jack Rouse Jr. in the 59 Ford, Dylan Matchevin in the 28 Porsche. I think that was the 19 BMW just on the end. Yes, it is.
Correct.
Jeff Mosing, next man up, but he's 6 seconds further back, but 9th down to 12th position in lockstep.
Excuse me, John. Michael Johnson in the TCR leading car number 54 has just turned his best lap of the race on that last time around. Here he comes up now toward turn 2, that red, blue and white car.
The TCR cars, they look right. I mean, whoever styled all of these cars, it doesn't matter which one, we've only got Audi and VW here, but I've seen most of the examples from the manufacturers. Big boxy arches, sort of a saloon car, touring car version of the old Group 5 looking cars with those boxy arches that are open at the back. They sound great, 2 litres being revved within an inch of their life. Lots of aero, and make very good endurance racing cars. Seen them in the International Endurance Series that we cover around the world, and seen them winning 24-hour races as well against GT4 cars. Here in IMSA, they are toned down just a little bit from the maximum performance that you'd see them running in a touring car only situation, and that's because at certain circuits, and this would be one of them, VIR another, they will be at least as quick and in the right hands and in the right conditions, perhaps even quicker than the GT4 cars. Leader is in the pit lane. Michael makes the left-hand turn, leader in TCR, that is. And Shea Adam is waiting down at their pit.
Had me worried there for a second that the Mustang was coming in, and I'm at the wrong end of pit lane for that. It is indeed a driver change and tires for the number 54, as well as fuel. Steven Simpson's bright yellow helmet is being plummeted into that seat as they change the front tires and the rear tires on the right side. So this is the first TCR car we've seen doing a 4-tire stop. I suppose if they've got the time, they might as well take advantage of it. They will be going for a full fuel load, not trying to short stop anything. And in comes another TCR car. That is the 75 Roy Block getting out, and Pierre Kleinubing installing himself into that one. They are doing front tires for this car. Still working on the left-hand side for the number 54. The driver change is nearly complete. Fuel still going into that Audi, and they should be able to get back out ahead of the 75. As the car is still up on the air jacks, the 54. The front left brake is looking a little bit warm as there's a bit of smoke coming off of it. Now they pull the fuel out, close the driver's side door. 54, the JDC Audi is now being told to go back up in the air. They did not complete the tire change, it looks like, on the left front. So they are having drama there, which is a shame after Michael Johnson's great stint, as the 75 is cleared to leave and will pass the 54 as the 09 Automatic Racing Aston Martin comes in. And they collide. The 54 and the 09, they came together. It was an unsafe release from Steven Simpson, and they are wedged together in a pit box a little bit further down. And the Aston Martin, trying to move, does manage to get it going, but it took off quite a bit of its own bodywork on the left rear, as the right front of that number 54 Audi will need some more attention. It will likely be coming back into the pit lane. We have 2 of our 3 minis on the pit lane as well. The yellow one, the 52, and the 73 is in. Driver change for both those cars, and they have refueled. The 77 TCR former leader comes back in. Britt Casey Jr. jumping out, and Tom Long getting in. They are going to do tires on this car this time around. They did not do it when they came in under the caution. They did fuel only then. But they are doing at least the front tires as things are starting to get very busy. The 69 McLaren comes in as well. Jesse Lazaire jumping out of that, and Corey Fergus getting in. They are doing fuel and tires, right sides at a bare minimum for sure. They only have 1 air gun for the McLaren, so they have to do each tire one at a time. The driver change is done on the 77, just waiting on fuel. Now they let the car off the air jacks, and Tom Long is cleared to leave.
Do you know, we said, thank you, Shea, hectic for our Continental Tire pit lane reporter, as the 09 Aston gets going with a bit of damage. We said about executing in the pit lane would make all the difference. Slight error from the 54 JDC Miller Motorsport team. They dropped the car just before the left front tyre changer seated the tyre, or seated the wheel rather, on the hub. Now, first of all, that was a mistake. But very good from the tyre changer. He didn't try and bolt it up whilst it was on the ground. He was signalling to get the car back up and got the wheel on, seated, give it a good wiggle, got it on and put it on. But then nobody remembered to have a look to see if there was anything coming through the pits, and they just wanted to get Stephen Simpson out quickly and pulled into the side of the Aston that was pulling into the pit in front of it. And that responsibility does, I'm afraid, lie with the JDC guys. From second place, Russell Ward for the Winward Racing HTP Motorsport machine. Ireland's Damien Faulkner, at a track that he has won at in the past, is ready to go, and Shea Adam is watching the pit stop with this Continental Tire pit lane report.
Russell doing a great job in that opening stint, is handing over, as you mentioned, to Damien Faulkner. They are giving Damo new right side tires at the very least while the fuel is going on. I'd imagine they run around the car and do the other side as well. Driver change is complete. They are still buckling in Damo. Now the door shuts and the tires are done on the right side. They are coming over. Yes, they're going to change the lefts as well. Good stop for them.
And penalty for the 54. Incident responsibility, unsafe release effectively, contact in the pit lane. That'll be a drive through for Stephen Simpson. Also a penalty for Jesse Lazar's car, although now in the hands of Corey Fergus, the 69 car. Exit pits with hose or tools attached.
No.
So something went wrong in their pit stop, so that's a drive-through as well. And this is sloppy, guys. Sloppy, sloppy, sloppy.
Yeah, you're right.
You will, I mean...
Both of those two cars coming in at the same time, by the way, the 54 and the number 69, to serve their penalties.
Also in the pit lane, the leader.
Yep.
Chad McCumbee.
First two both in.
Correct, James Clay for the BMW. What a run it's been for James Clay. This is James Clay's second pit stop, of course. He's been in the pit lane before. It's the first for Chad McCumbee, the leader, and Shea Adam has the stops.
Driver change for the number 82 BMW, and they are doing 4 tires on that car as well. James Clay hops out. Tyler Cook gets in, and for the Mustang, they are doing tires. They are doing the front tires first as fuel going on, and it also looks like there's a driver change for that one. The driver's side door is wide open. The 60 Mustang has also come onto the pit lane. That is Nate Stacey getting out and Kyle Marcelli getting in, the race winners from Sebring. Tire change still going on for the number 82, the BMW. They are on to the left sides now. They are on to the left sides for the Mustang. The leader when he came in as well, the number 8, Chad McCumbee brought it in. It should be Patrick Gallagher taking it back out. Looks like a bit of a slow driver change for that car, but it's still up on its air jack, so no time lost as of yet. The car comes off its air jack. The 82 is rolling. Tyler Cook is making his bid for freedom as the 8 is still waiting on fuel, and now Patrick Gallagher waiting. It's a change of lane because the BMW has gone through, and now the Mustang begins to roll. The 57 has also made its way on the pit lane, so Indy Doncha will get his first racing laps around Mid-Ohio.
Wow, what a turnaround there. It's Stephen McAleer who leads on the track, but he also, and he has made a pit stop, of course. He pitted under the yellow in the Porsche number 5, the Body Motion racing car. Joe Robillard.
So he doesn't need to come in for a little while yet.
No. And Stephen started that car, didn't he? So Joe's not been in that car yet. Clean the dandelions out of the grill of the 57 Winward Racing HTP Motorsport car. That's been done. Bryce Ward is getting out. Indy Doncha will get in and take that car to the end. We are just over 55 minutes still to run. And it's all happening in the pits as we sort of expected it should. Once we get a moment, I'll run down the timing and scoring for you to give you an idea of how those pit stops. Now everyone except Brett Mosing has made a pit stop, so the 65 Mercedes should be into the pit. In fact, as I say that, he starts to come down the pit lane, so that is now everyone having been into the pits at least once, as we are just over 55 minutes still to go. Shea Adam, John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw broadcasting live from trackside here at Mid-Ohio. And Jeremy, this one is doing exactly what we expect in terms of the racing in Continental tyres. By the way, the 54 Stephen Simpson is well riled up. He's just passed the number 92 Mercedes-Benz.
And the number 82 and number 8 car then are now nose to tail with Patrick Gallagher from Ohio. Wow, we're going to get a penalty for number 82 car, John?
Yes, we are. Wheel rotation on the jack stands. That's another drive-through and more mistakes. Have these guys forgotten the rules since Sebring? Really? Shea Adam, this is a very, very tight pit lane, isn't it?
It is. It's reminiscent, actually, of Long Beach because the pit boxes don't feel much bigger, but because of the additional cars that we have running here, it gets very chaotic, and it has been 50 days since the last round of this championship. Maybe some people are a little rusty, John. That is possible.
It is possible, but that's, you know, your team meetings, not just for drivers and engineers. The pit crew's got to do their things as well. My wheel rotation whilst on the track, that is down to the driver, either not taking the car out of gear or putting it into gear too early. It's a shame, actually, that BMW needs the pit stop, the drive-through, because the 82 and the 8, Tyler Coote and Pat Gallagher, are having a cracking battle. They're just heading into the carousel now. And 82 bails off to its pit. So Pat Gallagher goes through and passed up. Yeah, absolutely. The Optima battery BMW into the pit lane. Pat Gallagher then for Multimatic Motorsports, having taken over the number 8 Mustang GT4 from Chad McCumbee, is up a position as the Bimmer World BMW M4. What a competition debut year that car has been having. More penalties. Car 80, that's Brett Sandberg in 6th position. More permitted people over the wall again. That's going to be another drive-through. Let's go back to Shea Adam, who's watching more pit stops with his Continental Tire report.
We had the 56 Mosing Motorcars Mercedes come into the pit lane. Jeff Mosing jumped out. Eric Foss got in. They gave him 4 tires and fuel. And we also have the 46 Team TGM car. That is Owen Trinkler and Hugh Plum sharing. And I don't see a driver change going on. I could be wrong as I make my way up there, but they are doing 4 tires and fuel for that Mercedes. I would imagine that they would be taking Owen out and putting Mr. Plum behind the wheel, but I will let you know once I get up there.
Yeah, makes sense to me that would be the case. Might have happened already. The door is open, I'm hearing, yes, and Owen Trinkler very quick out of that car. So
this
coming...
the second, it came into the pits in 2nd place. It did number 28 car, that's Dylan McAvern, handing over to Spencer Pompelli. That is the championship leader.
Yeah, and they've gone long there because of the stop. Car is rolling, that red, white and black machine. McAvan on his way. He'll drop down towards the bottom end of the top 10, I reckon. Eric Foss is out in the Mercedes number 56. Stephen McAleer leads the motor race. I think Patrick Gallagher... Oh, no, I think it might be Hugh Plum in 2nd place. We'll see how that works out. Owen Trinkler went long and put some good laps in and can't surely have got through. No, he must be down in about 4th or 5th position, that car. I'll tell you the next time they go over a timing loop. One of the stars, undoubtedly for me, of the opening hour of that race, Jeremy, was Russell Ward. He's handed over to Damien Faulkner, the 33 in 5th position. Russell Ward now with Shea Adam.
Russell, congratulations on the win that you got very recently in a Mercedes. You feeling like things are maybe shaking out to make it happen again today?
Yeah, I think so, man. It's looking really good. The car is really quick, and you know, brought it in 2nd place. You know, it's slick out there, and the traffic is difficult. It's hard to pass here, but it's looking promising. So we'll see how it goes. Where
around the track is the Mercedes strongest? Where should we look for Damo to make the pass for the win?
Look, it's really strong on the fast corners. I mean, you know, turn 1, it's good. You know, I don't know where, you know, Damien's just going to have to, you know, pass wherever he can. I mean, the competition is difficult, so.
It looked a little bit tricky off the start and the restart, the getting heat fully into the tires. Was that an issue?
Yeah, the restart was really tough. I mean, you picked up so much clag around here that, you know, for 4 or 5 laps, everyone was a second or two slower, but, you know, everyone was dealing with the same thing. So, but, you know, very difficult track. First time here.
Good luck the rest of the way. Very impressive job so far.
Sorry, what?
Good luck the rest of the way. It was an impressive job so far.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Russell Ward really making a change, I think, in his attitude and concentration levels over the last couple of seasons. His experience is growing with that, his confidence. He doesn't seem to be overconfident. He's doing a cracking job. Body motion number 5 in the pit lane. Stephen McAleer comes in from the lead for his second pit stop. So does that leave Patrick Gallagher in the lead then?
Yeah. Pretty comfortably over the number 46 car, then up into second place. And then third and fourth, a good battle between number 33 car, that's Damien Faulkner, and right on his tail is Kyle Marcelli.
Yeah, and that was good tactics by Team TGM to leave Owen Trinkler out. Owen had some really good laps while everyone else was in the pits, and
there goes,
got up through the
excuse me, John, there goes McAleer down the pit lane, watching out front. There is our race leader now going across start-finish line. So McAleer is still going to be in a really good position here, probably in the third place, maybe even second.
Through goes the number 8. Where is the 46? Still waiting for the 46 to come across the line.
Oh, no, he's gone. He's already gone past.
Hugh Plum's gone by, has he?
Yes.
Number 5. No, he hasn't. The 46 is right behind him, and as they come out the keyhole, they'll go side by side, and Joe Robillard will give up that position.
Yeah.
But I was just watching there to see if I could see the grey car. Joe Robillard trying to get the heat in the tyres. He's on the wrong side of the track as he comes down to 4, and he won't be able to hold back the 46. But I tell you what, they turned that little Porsche around very quickly indeed, and he did come out in a strong second position.
I was saying he was going to be either second or third.
Yeah. 46 has gone through though, so Hugh Plum for TGM. And as I was saying, Jeremy, I think that was really smart for the TGM guys. Owen Trinkler had a little bit of clear track ahead of him, and for 2 or 3 or 4 laps, longer than most people pitted, he was left out there and clearly was still getting good feel from the Continental tyres, and they've jumped up to second position after the round of pit stops. 47.5 minutes to go. Here's how it stands. It will be Pat Gallagher leading. From in second, Hugh Plum, so 8 forward from 46 Mercedes. Then Joe Robillard, who is being closed in on by Damien Faulkner in the 33 Mercedes. And in fact, Kyle Marcelli's gone through ahead of Faulkner. So Faulkner having trouble getting heat into the tyres on the Mercedes as well. But watch that for that car to come good in 3 or 4 laps. So 8:46, 5:60.33, and then Tyler Cook makes up the top 6 in the 82 BMW. In TCR, Kuno Wittner leads, 14th position overall for the number 74 Compass Racing car. 77 is Tom Long now in second, with Pierre Kleineming in third in the 75. Those are all Audis. The Volkswagen is in 4th position in class. In ST, it's back to the minis, 37, and Devon Jones leading that from Mark Pombo in the 73. No, it's Matt in the 73, isn't it?
It's Matt.
It is Matt, yes. As soon as I said it, I knew I was wrong. And then the other Jones in the BMW. And I've got the Joneses round the wrong way as well, haven't I? It's Derek in the 37 and Devon in the BMW. Devon in the BMW. Go to Devon in the BMW. Remember that, Hindhoff. And it's Derek in the Minis. Not Derek in the Dominoes. Quickest lap of the race for the number 28 car, for that car. Spencer Pumpelly now in that car to the end. 45 minutes to go here, Jeremy. And I'm not sure that everyone who stopped early on in that pit stop cycle can go all the way to the end. 55 minutes some of those guys were stopping on. 55 minutes to go. And they'd all had a splash beforehand, hadn't they?
Yep.
So if we go green, and we did have a bit of yellow at the start of the race as well, of course, let's not forget, after
certainly the guys
22
that came
minutes.
in later will be able to stay out.
We're on lap 46 now, and the people who stopped latest, Hugh Plum, lap 43, 3 laps ago, I reckon he's probably all right to the end. I'm not sure about the people who were 3 laps shorter than him.
He came in after 41 laps.
Yeah.
The number 28 car came in a lap later. That certainly, I think, should be able to certainly we'll have a better opportunity to get to the end, because the Porsche Cayman certainly were able to go a little bit longer than everybody else.
Yeah, Damien Faulkner of the leaders was the one that was in first on, as it says on my screen, lap 39, but that might be 40 if it depends on where it was coming from.
Actually, it's 38, after 38.
Oh, after 38, okay, right. So he crossed the line in the pit lane.
Correct.
Yeah, understood. Into the pits for the number 92 Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes AMG, I should say. Ramsey Racing, Mark Ramsey getting out. And here is Alex Premat getting reinstalled into that car. This is the dark red car.
It's a good lap. Excuse me, I'm so sorry.
Go on.
Really good lap there by Patrick Gallagher, the race leader. It was his best lap, that car's best lap of the race, 129.0 for our racing. The fastest lap of the race has been set by Guy Cosmo fairly recently in number 4 car, but he's a lap down and not really in contention, down 27th place, but a really good lap by Patrick Gallagher.
Shea, they're looking at the back of that car in the pit lane, that car being the 92, Alex Premott now installed. What's the problem?
Well, it's not quite hand-tied behind Alex Premott's back going into this fight, but maybe with a couple broken fingers, because the left rear of the car had part of the, not quite diffuser, but the bumper area hanging down. A mechanic went and tried 1, 2, 3 pulls to get it off. It would not budge, so hopefully it's going to stay on there for long enough, but it will certainly affect the way that the air comes off the back of that Mercedes.
And you will want all the downforce you can possibly have here. No doubt at all there. Damien Faulkner and Carl Marcelli back at it again as Faulkner's got heat into the Continental tyres. This is for 3rd and 4th position. It's the number 60 Ford Mustang GT4. The red Mustang with the black bonnet. And traffic playing its part here as Demo carves his way through. Demo is superb in traffic. He has that perfect blend of patience and aggression, and is decisive when he needs to be, like when he's diving down the inside of a couple of cars into the first corner. The 81 BMW, the Bimmer World BMW, is one of the leading ST cars, and he's got Tyler Cook now right behind him. So 2nd, 3rd and 4th now are within a couple of seconds of each other, and that's all just working through traffic. The Mustang unable to make its bid for freedom as it goes past the Volt car that has Hindman at the wheel now, and Brynjolfsson having done his job. That car is a lap off the lead and lets its stablemate go through. And Demo now in the silver and blue, number 33, into turn 4 with the BMW, the Optima Batteries black and white machine right in his wheel tracks.
Yeah, and Patrick Gallagher just romping away at the front of the field for some
look at
reason.
his lap times.
Well, yeah, his lap times are great, but really great. 29.5 last time around. Hugh Plum was more than 3 seconds slower. He must have had some traffic, I guess.
Yes.
But and he's got Carl Marcelli closing in on him. That's the car that won last time out. Let's not forget number 60, Roush Performance Core Motorsport entry. The car started in 12th place in this race, but Nate Stacey moved his way up a few positions. Great pit stop. And now Kyle Marcelli is charging along. He's only a couple of seconds behind Hugh Plum. That gap has come down from 6.5 seconds just 3 laps ago.
Battle further down the field. Tim Probert has traffic behind him. Actually, that's the Tom Long BMW Audi, isn't it? That's right in there. It's the battle for 16th and 17th. Meantime, our leader, Patrick Gallagher, clear track ahead of him. As he heads down towards the braking area at turn 4. Big crowd on the banking, drivers right for this Saturday feature race, the IMSA Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge for the Mid-Ohio 120, round 3 of the 2018 season for the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge competitors. Let's now start to talk about the end of the race in 40 minutes time. Shea Adam starting at the front of the field, the number 8 Ford. Are they going to be okay to the end on fuel?
They said they should be good on fuel. Should, but Chad McCumbie's still wearing a bit of a poker face.
Okay, that seems reasonable.
Well, if they can reach the end, then pretty much everybody else
Yes, I think
should
so.
be able to. I think they came in on lap 39. Didn't make a note of when that was, but it must have been just around about a little bit less than an hour to go, I think.
Yes, agreed. There was a little bit of safety car running in that early stint, of course.
What a great job Patrick Gallagher is doing.
Really good. On home ground, as you mentioned. And he is all of a sudden 15.5 seconds in no time at all. That has gone out. Marcelli, Faulkner and Cook, with Spencer Pumpelly only 7.5 seconds further back down the road, and Corey Ferguson another 2 seconds behind that. So within about 10 or 12 seconds, you've got third down to 7th position. And the traffic is pulling that battle together. Damien Faulkner on the flasher. And he's in trouble here, Faulkner, because he's gone to the inside of one of the Audis and just managed to get through before the braking area. It was the number 11 car that they were going by. Yes, it was. Mikey Taylor behind the wheel of that car. And Faulkner with the BMW of Tyler Cook looming large in his mirrors. Needs to just get his head down and get a bit of clear track here. Kyle Marcelli in a bit of clear air, doing very good sector times. And closing now to within a second of Plum. Hugh Plum has not been able to get any kind of rhythm going with the traffic. 31.3 last time around. A 30.1 for Marcelli. So that battle is going to close up very quickly, and Marcelli's with him. Marcelli is with him. There's no cars between them as they go up the hill. But I tell you what, Faulkner's closing in as well. This is all getting very close indeed for second, and it's going to be down to about 5th or 6th. Well, Pumpelly's hitting the traffic now, so it'll take him a wee bit longer. So exiting the keyhole, Damien Faulkner has Tyler Cook right behind him. Cook immediately comes out to the right-hand side, and the BMW has seemingly more torque out of the corners. This is the problem for the Mercedes. They've been pegged back so much. That big engine you would think would make lots of torque. It doesn't.
Well, one of the Mercedes set the fastest lap of the race so far, that being Guy Cosmo in car number 4. So
it's how they make that lap time. Remember, we've heard the Mercedes runners saying in the past that uncharacteristically for a car that has so much torque in its natural form, they've got to really push it through the corners. They can't rely on the torque to pull out because of the way the BOP's been applied to that car. There's no criticism implied here. It's just the drivability of the car, and some of its inherent strength has gone away.
yeah. Well, the Mercedes been the quickest in most sections this weekend. It's certainly working well around here. This battle for second place, they're really intensifying now as they head into turn 1 behind the number 39 car, which is fast. Jeff Westphal is at the wheel of that car. It is a lap down to the leaders.
Yeah.
But it's a fast car, that Audi, and that battle for second and third right behind them. John heading up to turn 2.
I'll predict that if it doesn't happen going into the keyhole, and it's not going to, that Kyle Marcelli in the red, white and black Mustang might be able to just drag past on the downhill section. Oh, he just dropped these left-hand Continentals into the dirt on the exit of the curb, and that will, I think, give a bit of a breather for a moment or two. 28.9 last time around from Marcelli was that car's fastest lap of the race.
Yeah.
Now, Hugh Plum last time around, when he had clear track, Jeremy, back down to a 29.4. So there's nothing wrong with that car. The problem is how it's developing its speed and power, particularly in traffic. As soon as you come off the throttle and go back on again, you don't get the surge of power that these drivers have been used to with that big Merc engine. Faulkner and Cook coming back to them. And now only 3.8 seconds between the battle for second and 4th and 5th cars. Battle for second. Coming across the line now. And heading into turn one. The Audi's doing well. They're ahead of them, off the lead lap, as Jeremy mentioned.
Too much. What I've got my eyes on right now, as well as this battle for second place that's heading up here one more time, between number 46 and number 60, is just ahead of him is Jeff Westphal. Not too far ahead of Jeff Westphal is number 26 BMW. It's Toby Grahovic is at the wheel of that car right now. And both he and Jeff Westphal are two of the fastest cars on the track, along with Alex Prema, who's further back, a lap down. He's in one of the Mercedes, of course. He's just turned a quick lap as well.
Hugh Plum putting two wheels into the Dandelions, trying to defend the line down the hill into four and couldn't do it. And that's that lack of pulling power that the Mercedes drivers have been talking about. Great move by Kyle Marcelli, who goes around, puts his car in exactly the right place, was on the wrong side of turn four. That put him on the left, the right part of the circuit for turn five. And that is a change of second position. Tyler Cook, by the way, is cranking up the wick as well, as he's trying to get back to this battle. So exactly as predicted, coming out of the keyhole, down the hill to four, the Mercedes slower off the corner and taking longer to get to its terminal velocity. Nothing wrong with the exit by Hugh Plum. And even having lost the position, that was only a 30.2, but a 29 flat by Kyle Marcelli. 28.7 by Westphal last time around, just reinforcing what Jeremy was saying. And Guy Cosmore, 29.4.
And Toby Grahovic is not far away from getting his lap back. That's what I was going to say there about that number 26 car. It's in 17th position, but he's going to try and get his lap back.
That could be very, very important if we get a full course yellow, of course. So Grahovic is in the 26 BMW, the classic BMW. That's the dark red car, isn't it, that Roy Mason was in earlier on. And Toby pushing very hard. So watch out for that behind the leading Ford. Meantime, 57 making a move down the inside of the 80, and that's the Indy Doncic driven Winward HTP car going up the inside of Brett Sandberg for 9th position in the Ford. And 56 right in there as well. Eric Foss took the opportunity to go through as well. So Indy Doncic now in behind the 09 Aston, which is a lap down from Eckler Jr. behind the wheel of the Invisible Glass sponsored Automatic Racing Aston. And he will try and give best. Oh, Mini with a problem. Turn 5-6 area, and it's the 37. Third place, second place in class, but he's pulled off immediately into the infield. Now, what was the issue there? Can't tell you at the moment, as Indy Doncic has to, Eric Foss rather, has to defend in that bright orange Mercedes. Indy Doncic has got away from these two that are battling behind him now, and he'll set off in pursuit of BMW number 19, the Stephen Cameron racing car, and that car is in 8th position, the 37. It is day over for the Mini, but very, very considerate driving by
that's interesting. Toby Grahovic, who is trying to get his lap back. He's still a few seconds behind the race leader. He's managed to get past the number 15 car. I wondered whether the number 15 car, which of course is several laps down, now driven by Scott Maxwell, former series champion, I wonder whether he might kind of play interference and make it difficult for the BMW. But Grovic's found a way past. He's now going to track down the race leader, Patrick Gallagher, to get back onto the lead lap.
I think when Kyle Marcelli gets up there, that might be a different story.
New fastest lap of the race, by the way, but also by BMW this time. Gregory Leafouge in car number 19. That's a Stephen Cameron Racing BMW. He's working his way into contention in the 8th position.
Amazing how the lap times are coming down, but only when people are in clear air. Brett Sandberg having a look at Eric Foss going into the first corner as our leader. Patrick Gallagher is through the complex at 4, 5 and 6, heading into the S's now. Grohovic's put his fastest lap of the race in as well. Tom Long, his fastest lap of the race, a 1:30.4 for Tom Long in a TCR car. 1:30.4 in a TCR car. Not messing about there. Tom can drive, mind you. I think it's fair to say. Jeremy, we've got half an hour to go. Amazing. 90 minutes has disappeared like a light snowfall in summer.
Brilliant.
Let's go to the pit lane.
Grohovic's a lot closer this lap to our race leader Patrick Gallagher. That heavy forward, of course, but Patrick's still turning some super laps, really nice and consistent. Low to mid 1:29s in that race leading car, but there was a new, was it the fastest lap? No, a 28.9 there for Toby Grohovic in car number 26.
2 laps in succession that Toby has done the fastest lap for that car. Let's take Continental Tire pit lane update as we're talking minis and specifically the 37, Shea.
Thanks to Luis Pericarpi. He said that they think they lost an axle or something, but there is no more drive for that car. Good news for Mini. We head next to Watkins Glen, a track that has been very kind to them in the recent past.
And very good for that team and driver combo that they put the car behind the wall immediately. No need. When you know it's something serious like that, no point in getting it back. That's Derek. He's a very thoughtful driver. Out on the circuit, BMW versus Mercedes. Down into turn number 4, and the 82 is going for 3rd position. Tyler Cook has been flying, and he drives round Hugh Plum, and it's the same spot on the track, and this will be eminently frustrating for Hugh Plum. He's doing nothing wrong at all. Last time around, a 30.1, but a 29 flat from Tyler Cook. And you can't defend to the inside because the cars have got so much more speed that they can just drive around the outside of them into the braking area. Faulkner 29.7 last time, 29 flat for Cook in 4th. 3rd, Hugh Plum 30.1, 29 flat for Kyle Marcelli, and he's going to go quicker than that again this time around, even with that pass. And the gap is 28.6 for Marcelli. The gap is 11 seconds to Patrick Gallagher with 28 minutes to go. Remember that. And how hard can these guys push? They said they're okay on fuel, but are they okay on fuel at full rich, flat out, no nonsense, mindless boogie? Shea Adam, that's the big question. Continental Tire pit lane update.
Well, Kyle Marcelli certainly is, because the team has actually dismantled the fuel rig. So if Kyle needs to come back in, there will be nowhere for him to stop. But he is a guy who is very good at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. In the GTD qualifying earlier, he put the Lexus 2nd, and he won here back in 2011 in a PC car. He is very good at Mid-Ohio.
That's as good a bit of evidence as I've heard presented to a court at any time in the past. Well done, Shea. Yes, you can come in, but we can't give you any fuel. Why not? We've dismantled the fuel rig.
We're off to the pub.
Yeah, we're getting ready for our celebration. 28.6 then from Marcelli last time around. 11 seconds, the gap between 1st and 2nd. Tyler Cook is not hanging about either. And the gap between 2nd and Cook in 3rd, 3 seconds. 14 seconds covering the top 4, 15
Toby
covering the top
Grohovic,
5.
excuse me, John, is looking to the inside, heading into turn 1, trying to get his lap back. I know not hugely significant. Patrick Gallagher doing a magnificent job there, just biding his time. He's got a handy lead, but he can't afford to give away too much of it because Kyle Marcelli is now within 10 seconds.
And that means that Kuno Whitmer, the TCR leader, is still on the lead lap, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, just.
He's the last car on the lead lap.
Correct. 14 GSs and 1 TCR on the lead lap. We've completed 59, or at least the leader has. Hugh Plum coming round to drop down towards turn 4. Through the kink, where we started some hour and 35 minutes ago. Faulkner has not had the pace of the cars around him, and Spencer Pumpelly at 28.9. Neither of the Mercedes in the top class, in the top 6, have been able to find consistently the lap times of the cars around them. 28.9 from Pumpelly, and now the gap between 5th and 6th is down to 5.5 seconds. Meantime, Greg Leofug is right up with Corey Fergus, the rainbow BMW, black, orange, red, flashing the headlights at the sleek and lithe McLaren ahead of it. Corey Fergus, this is the car that started at the back of the GS field, remember, late on parade for the pre-grid. Clever pit strategy, saw them up the field. But the car to have at the moment, it would appear to be a BMW, because the two M4s are the class of the field at the moment.
Yeah, and all that forward of Carl Marcelli was absolutely flying. He took more than nearly 2.5 seconds out of Patrick Gallagher on that last lap. That's primarily because Patrick lost some time while he was overtaken by Toby Grahovic. So we now have the number 26 car back onto the lead lap. If there's a full course caution, he's going to be moving his way through the field. Indy Doncher has just gone purple, by the way, in the final sector of his track. He said it's a very good laps as well in the 28.
So that Mercedes is getting some lap times, but only in clear air, Jeremy. And I'll say that again, as Leofug looks down the inside at turn 4. Now, can he do the cut back to 5? No. It's smart driving by the 69 of Corey Fergus. Puts the McLaren exactly where the BMW doesn't want it to be. It's fair, though, very fair indeed. There's no weaving about, there's no moving in reaction to the driver behind. Through 8, over the brow at 9, just a tiny little correction from Corey Fergus. Meantime, the classic BMW, the bright or the dark red machine, has got through. And, oh, was there a little brush with the Mini? Yes, there was, the 52, which is second place in ST, just feeling the brunt of that BMW, the classic BMW sponsored car, as he went through at turn 1, and he's pulling away from the leader. Patrick Gallagher, I reckon, brakes quite early there, and the Mini nearly runs into the back of him. I think Patrick Gallagher's saving fuel. I think that Ford is saving fuel. He's coasting into the corners to the point where the Mini was gaining on him there.
Well, he did come in a lap before the number 80 car, but only one lap before the number 80 car. And of course, he was pushing very, very hard after he'd retaken the lead in this race, turning some consistent low 29s. Of course, that's a much heavier car than some of these other cars in the field as well. So he's got to manage his tyre wear as well. But last time around, a 1:30.1 for our race leader, Patrick Gallagher.
29.3 for the similar car of Kyle Marcelli in second, the number 60. And he was in on the same lap. Tyler Cook is 2 laps better off for fuel in the BMW. Well, you say that, but we don't know how much fuel went into those cars and how quickly they were dropped and gone, and whether somebody rolled the dice just a wee bit to think, well, we're bound to get another full course yellow and we'll stretch it out. But Marcelli now down under 7 seconds. He's hit the traffic now that the leader had a lap or 2 ago, just gone by the VW Golf. Still sitting in 5th position in TCR, having lost a position to the recovering 54 Stephen Simpson. That car looking very good and running as high as second. In fact, led the class when the pit stop started in the hands of Michael Johnson. But a bit of a snafu in the pit lane. I'm being kind there, because it was a complete mess, actually, from the guys at JDC. Sorry, lads, but it was. But your drivers are doing a great job. And Stephen Simpson, recently naturalised American, is hauling that car back up the standings. And the TCR, led by Kuno Whitmer, still on the lead lap of the race overall. And in 15th position, Tom Long in second place in the TCR Audi, the 77. And going great guns. Just looking at the times here, Indy Donchi, another fast lap for him, 1:28.7, as he is trying to make some ground through the field. Bryce Ward did a really good job early on, starting that car. The 57 sits in 9th position in class and overall. But Marcelli, the man of the moment, takes another couple of tenths out of Patrick Gallagher, who's leading. 20 minutes to go. Don't write the headlines yet, ladies and gentlemen, and don't nip away to put the kettle on. We're live from trackside, IMSA Radio and TV together. Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhaugh in the booth. Shea Adam, our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. I just want to know what the expressions are down at Multimatic Motorsports, Shea. I know that's where you are.
That's where you have the tracking device implanted, right, John? You
Correct.
can just track me on the pit lane. They are nervous, but they are not nervous like they're about to run out of fuel. They're nervous like they're leading a race. There's 20 minutes to go and anything can happen. And if caution comes out, that lead that they have built up evaporates. And crew guys have just been sparked to get ready for a bit of fuel for the 15. So
you're a tease.
Yeah, good one. I'm particularly worried because with just 5 minutes to go in the race at Sebring last time out, the number 8 car that's leading now had a half shaft failure. So they're hoping that that's why they've got their fingers crossed. That they've had a lot of mechanical problems on that car this season. So they're going to hope that everything holds together.
Tim Probert in the 65 car and Greg Leafouge coming together. Leafouge off the track on the outside of the second corner a few moments ago. He has got the fastest lap of the race, has Greg. Well done, Gregory. Lap 55, 1:28.6. That's the new best mark. Oh, Cal Marcelli's just done a 1:28.6, but is a couple of hundredths away. And now it's under 6 seconds, the lead, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And only 5 seconds back to Tyler Cook.
That's right. And Indy Doncic also turned a 28.6 last time around. So there's a lot of pace in here. The race leader, meanwhile, last time, Patrick Gallagher, 1:29.3.
And the top 3 now within 10, 11 seconds, let's call it. It's not that long ago that Marcelli was 14 seconds behind the leader. And now they're all within 11 seconds. The Ford in second, the 60 and the 82 BMW in third, the black and white Optima Batteries car. They are both getting closer to Patrick Gallagher. I reckon Gallagher's pacing himself nicely. He's not doing anything he shouldn't. He's been conservative through traffic, but as the leader, you kind of have to do that.
Oh, it's been a really mature drive for Patrick Gallagher. This is his first season in the IMSA Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge, but he's a champion before. He won last year's Battery Tender Global MX5 Cup Series, and with that, a scholarship from the Mazda Road to 24 to move his way up the sports car ladder, and that's exactly what he's doing here. And he's looking to get a great home result. He's got a lot of supporters here as Patrick Gallagher. He's doing them proud.
Shea's just reminded me, John Doonan, the head of Mazda Sport here in the US, was the first chap over to Chad McCumbee when Multimatic won that pole position earlier on today for the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. And as he walked away, he said to Shea, "Those are my boys." So it might have a blue oval on it, but there's a bit of zoom in that car at the front of the field as well. 28.6 from Tyler Cook last time around. The BMW's coming in now. It's only 9.5 seconds between the top 3.
Yeah. They're all closing in, aren't they? Because the gap from first to second came down by a whole second on that last lap. It's under 5 seconds now. And Tyler Cook, he closed in as well. You're absolutely right, by just a few tenths of a second. So that is getting closer and closer.
Tom Long mired in traffic at the moment. He is some 21 seconds behind Kuno Whitmer, who leads the TCR class. And he's not gaining enough at the moment, but it's going to be one of these grandstand finishes that we've been so used to in the IMSA Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge down through the years. The Mid-Ohio 120 is going to give us all of those 120 minutes of interest, at the very least. Number 76 car's just come back into the pit lane again, Shea. Adam, and I can't see that it's pit box.
No, it was taken behind the wall, so it will not be a finish, despite that great effort that the Compass Racing, ladies and gentlemen, put in to get that car to the end.
That's the 76 McLaren that was assaulted early on by the Mustang. Chase Briscoe in the 15. Scott Maxwell still turning laps, by the way, in the 15 car, sitting in 22nd position in GS and 33rd and last running car on the timing and scoring.
Just been overtaken there by, that is Jeff Westphal in the Audi making a move to the inside. So Westphal, he also would like to get himself back on the lead lap, and he is certainly making ground on the race leader, Patrick Gallagher, but he's still down in the 16th position, car number 39.
Yeah, and here comes the interest for me. Marcelli in the 60 is now up to the 15. Now, tail end Charlie here, Scott Maxwell, needs not to get involved in this. The gap's gone out to 5 seconds again, just a tenth or so.
Yeah,
but
because primarily, John, it's a great lap by Patrick Gallagher, 129.2.
That's the first time he's been in the low 29s for a few laps, Jeremy. But Marcelli now, don't want to see him getting held up by the Mustang ahead. That Mustang driven by Scott Maxwell, the other Multimatic driver. He's been very, very good for everyone else. But as I said, not everyone else is going to be battling his teammate for the lead.
Yeah, but it's a Ford, and it's a customer Ford as well.
That's a good point.
So no, he's not going to get in the way.
Well, up to the keyhole now, and the dark red and black machine is right there. As many laps as Scott Maxwell is, he should really be getting out the way pretty quickly. The blue flags will be being waved, and they are.
I think he will, John, as soon as the guy gets close enough. He's not really close enough now to need to let him pass. He certainly isn't holding up the number 60 car at this stage.
Bit of a danger time here for the leader.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of cars scrapping ahead. One of them is the Grohovic BMW, the dark red machine, and he's trying to get past the Mikey Faulkner Porsche, I think that is, the 21 car, the body motion car ahead of him. Yes, it is, and he has done. But now that ST car has got to look in the mirrors again, because here's the race leader, the blue and white, blue and grey mod space number 8 Mustang into the final complex of corners.
Yeah, Joe Robillard there, that's the car that started by Stephen McAleer, of course, and he's not making life easy for a race leader. He's going to go a lap down, but boy, that cost Patrick Gallagher a fair bit of time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a few nerves as well. He had to go right out on the dirty marbles there, around the outside of Joe Robillard. That wasn't very gentlemanly, quite frankly.
Yeah, my apologies. I thought that was the ST car, not the GS car. Now,
3.5 seconds now from first to second.
Yeah.
And also Patrick Gallagher will have dirt on his tyres.
And Kyle Marcelli is past Scott Maxwell. There was no hint of even a micro shenanigan there, as we expected from a man as experienced as Scott Maxwell. But Marcelli will now be able to see the leader, Jeremy. And going down towards 4, 5, 6 complex, he should be able to see the leader. He's just a couple of cars ahead of him now.
Yeah.
And that will give great succor to the man in second position. Time is running out. Time is not the friend of Kyle Marcelli.
What's Joe Robillard playing at? I mean, he's just getting in the way of everybody right now. You've got to have respect for these guys, and he's not doing that. Okay, it's actually, I suppose that is actually from position with number 39 car, but number 39 car is seconds faster than car number 5.
As she's just mentioned, that's McAleer's car holding McCumbie's car behind him.
Yeah, exactly.
Those two guys. And the problem for the 60 is
good.
that
Finally gets out of the way. Well done.
They're slowing them down, and now can Marcelli in the final couple of corners just squirt past the Audi of Jeff Westphal. That Audi's pretty quick, actually.
26 BMW, by the way, is into pit lane. Toby Grohovic.
That will be a splash of fuel, I think.
Like it.
Shea Adam is them. They can't. The Volkswagen's in there as well. Shea Adam is watching the classic BMW Vest Energy Group entered car. What's going on there, Shea?
Well, it's more than just a splash of fuel, John. They were checking the right side of the car while about 15 seconds of fuel was going in. There was also a long stop for one of the Audi TCR cars for fuel a while back, but this 26 BMW, it has been through the wars today, so the mechanics were making sure that the body panels would hang on for the last few minutes.
Thank you, Shea. Well, he was, what, 8, 9 laps worse off than the leader, 8 laps worse off than the leader in terms of when he was in for fuel. I've just seen some very exciting news from the other side of the world. Holden have just said they won't stand in the way, so HSV, Holden Special Vehicles, are going to be undertaking a feasibility study for a supercar Camaro to go up against the Ford Mustang in Virgin Australia Supercars. I've actually got goosebumps about that. So more Ford versus General Motors action down under to come. Let's hope with the two-door coupes. Meantime, it is a two-door coupe that leads here, and it's two Fords from a BMW.
Yeah.
Two GT4s from an M4.
And there's now no cars in between the first two cars or in the race. But the gap is down to 3.5 seconds again from Patrick Gallagher.
And they're on the same piece of track on the run up to the keyhole now.
Yep.
So every time that they can see, that the second place driver can see the first place, it's just a little bit more incentive to brake that tiny bit later. 29.2 for the second place car, 29.8 for the leader, 29.1 though for Tyler Cook. He's still 4.5 seconds further back. I think it's too late for him. Surely a nailed-on podium there. Hugh Plum and Damien Faulkner for the two Winwood, for the TGM and Winwood Racing teams in 4th and 5th, with Spencer Pumpelly though closing in and now only 2 seconds behind Damien Faulkner with the Porsche. Leader heading up towards turn 9. Down through the gearbox, turns in, don't take too much curb there, or at least if you do, balance the car on the throttle. Down through Thunder Valley. From the middle of the road, just ease the car gently to the right-hand side, almost kissing the Armco before you turn back into the left-hander before the carousel. Brake in a straight line, car goes light over the brow, drag the car back to the second apex, and then try and straight line the exit onto the start-finish line, which is what he's doing as he crosses the line now in front of our commentary box. And what's it, 2.8, Jeremy? This is on. Turn up the heat. We've got this one bubbling, haven't we?
8 minutes remaining, so what, 5 laps? 5 laps, maybe 6. So there's plenty of time for Kyle Marcelli to make it 2 wins in a row for the Roush Performance Core Motorsports team.
I've just flicked through the commentator's book of cliches and found it's one thing to catch someone, another thing to get past.
It is, particularly when you've got the hometown hero here, Patrick Gallagher, in the lead of this race. And yeah, and they are both Fords ultimately, so they certainly want Ford to win the race. They don't want to get together and let the BMW Tyler Cook through to pick up the pieces of anything that should go wrong. But Kyle Marcelli, what another great drive by the Canadian. A good first stint by Nate Stacey.
Very good.
Kyle Marcelli is going to bring it home. He's chasing it like everything is on the line here.
Well, everything is.
Sideways. It's great stuff.
And the car is immaculate in its red, white and black paintwork. And, you know, that's what you've got to do. Nate Stacey did his job, kept the car in the hunt. The teams, let's remember our keys to the race, Jeremy. The team did their bit in the 2 pit stops that they had. They took the opportunity during the yellow flag. They've been down the pit lane a couple of times. Tyler Cook, by the way, has been down the pit lane 3 times, or at least his 82 BMW has in 3rd position. They had to do the drive-through for the pit stop penalty, remember, the Tyler Cook car.
2.2 now between the 2 leaders.
Oh. Well, if you've bought a seat here, you're only using the edge of it right now, because it is Ford versus Ford, but they are 2 different teams. The leading team is Multimatic, who have developed this car on behalf of Ford. The second car is Roush Performance and Core Motorsports. Roush Performance have a bit of history with Ford as well. So between Multimatic and Roush and Core, there's quite a bit of Ford history here.
Oh yes, there certainly is, isn't there? That's absolutely right. By the way, Indy Doncha has made a move past Gregory Lefuger. That's for 7th position the last couple of laps. Number 57 car, the Mercedes, up into 7th position.
Spencer Pumpelly closing in on Damien Faulkner for 5th, and it's under 2 seconds now.
He is, and he's not but far behind Hugh Plum either. There's 3 seconds between those 2 Mercedes.
Oh, well, that's happened in the last couple of laps, because Damien was about 5 seconds behind. So Damien, 29.1, that's why. And he's taken 1.3 seconds out of Hugh last time around. So that could be a little 3-card dice at the end. 5.5 minutes to go. The leaders come out of the final corner and cross the start line now for the leader and now for second.
It's not 2 seconds, that's 1.1 seconds. They come across the line, heading to turn 1.
Marcelli just flinging that car into the first corner. That's an extraordinary piece of driving. In ST, the 73 leads, and right behind it now, the 52. It's the two Pombos. They are out together and battling for the lead.
That's right.
M Pombo from M Pombo here. It's the family day out. Oh, this could be a difficult Sunday lunch, couldn't it? If this all goes horribly wrong. It's the BMW in third position, the 81 car. But the two minis at the moment looking like my Scale Extric set from the 1970s.
69.
Back on pit road.
Yeah, very, very slowly. I think he's going to make his pit stall.
No, I think he's run out of fuel. I think Corey Fergus has run out of fuel. He stopped at the end of lap 38, a couple of laps earlier than most.
Yeah, after 37 laps, yeah. Oh, he's got it.
And he's run out of fuel. It's now started again. Now that's the same sort of time that Damien Faulkner came in. And he's pushing hard in fifth position. All right, that's a Mercedes versus a McLaren.
Yeah, just one lap later, and then the Ford, both Ford, number 8 and the 60, came in one lap after that. We've still got 4 minutes to go. Here we go, nose to tail.
Cross the line, first and second. Flash of the lights from Kyle Marcelli, who again takes a huge amount of speed to the apex of turn 1, despite the fact that he wasn't on the optimum line. The right rear Continental folding up, going up the hill. It's a
defense there from Patrick Gallagher.
Had to. Oh, Gallagher's gone wide, made a slight mistake, and it's pounced on immediately by Marcelli. And they come out side by side. Racing room given there by both drivers, but only barely. They're side by side coming to where we started 1 hour and 57 minutes ago, and the lead has changed, and Marcelli goes to the lead ahead of the Ohio boy down into 4. Is there a spot or two of rain out there as well at the moment? Is that the final roll of the dice? Extraordinary. Great drive by Kyle Marcelli. Now they must be okay. They're driving so hard, they must be okay on fuel. I have said that before, and we've had cough and splutter, and we've got an Aston Martin off at turn 9 right in front of the leaders, and that is the 99 car, I think. Yes, it is confirmed.
And that was running in the 11th position.
Yeah, and that could be a full course caution.
No.
I think he's out of fuel. I think the 99 car's out of fuel. That's Al Carter. He was last in on lap 33, end of lap 33. Yeah. So he is out of fuel. Yeah. That was a long run for them, and it hasn't paid off. And he's in a very dangerous place right off the brow at turn number 9.
Yeah, waved yellow flags.
Spots of rain on the pit lane now. My eyes had not deceived me. There used to be a game called Grand Prix that was a dice and card game, and you know, and a board, and if you rolled a 6 you got an incident, and you pulled an incident card. And this is like everybody rolling a 6 for 3 turns in a row.
Yeah, and it'll be white flag next time around. Hopefully it won't be yellow as well. I'm sure the officials will inform all the teams there is a car off there, and I presume there'll be wave flags as well at turn 9. So a battle here for number 54, trying to get past number 75. That is for third place, I think, isn't it? Yes, it is in TCR.
Third place in TCR, quite correct. That's Stephen Simpson in the red car and Pierre Kleineming in the 75, the sort of grey-coloured car. Damien Faulkner's closed within a second of Hugh Plum in 4th position. That's 2 Mercedes. That's a good bit of rear guard action from Damien Faulkner. White flag is in hand, and the starters are looking over. The white flag has been unfoiled. The white flag is coming out, and it is being shown now to the leader, who crosses the line for the penultimate time. Kyle Marcelli's got 2.2 miles, 73 and 52. The ST leaders go through together, and the 54's run out of fuel. The 54's run out of fuel. That is the Stephen Simpson and
Michael
Johnson car, and he's run out of fuel going across the line to start the last lap. This is not over yet by any stretch of the imagination. Extraordinary stuff.
It isn't, and all of a sudden Tyler Cook now is only 4 seconds behind Patrick Gallagher for second place. A couple of laps ago it was 7 seconds.
Yeah, it took...
Doesn't he have enough fuel?
Well, I did think that all of those guys who stopped at the end of lap 39 were going to be close. I'm surprised Faulkner's been able to do this as well. By the way, he is still driving very hard indeed. The lead is not over. We're back together again, halfway around the lap. Has the leader run out of fuel? Is Marcelli out of fuel? I think he is. Yeah. He's out of fuel. Halfway around the lap, it's coughing and spluttering, and the Core Motorsport car is never going to hold on to this, surely. He's out of fuel. There was definitely a stutter there.
Where's
and
the BMW?
Now, Patrick Gallagher is back there, weaving left and right, the 60 car trying to get fuel in the pickup. It's turn 9 and the dash to the line. If there's another cough and splutter now, it will go the way of the Multimatic car. 2, 3 corners to go, 2 corners to go now into the carousel. Now, is that the right way for the fuel pickup or the wrong way for the pickup? I think it's the wrong way. The 8 car needs to get right there just in case there's a cough and a splutter. It's going to be very, very close indeed to the line, and it is the win for Marcelli. Wins it by 0.2 of a second. Gallagher in second. Where's the BMW? Cook should be okay. Yes, he is. He goes through
right
in
back
third.
on the last lap for some reason.
Yeah, slow 35, 135 on the last lap.
Maybe that was the car that was running out of fuel.
Maybe he was out of fuel as well. This is
a battle for the lead in TCR, meanwhile.
And the 77 has gone through. Kuno Witten's lost the lead in the 74, the multicoloured car, on the last lap. On the last lap. Extraordinary stuff. And I think he's struggling as well. He's weaving left and right. Whitmer's weaving left and right, trying to get some fuel to the Audi engine. Drama piled upon drama. We promised you the Mid-Ohio 120. It's already the Mid-Ohio 122, and we've had drama right to the end of it. The Pombos have come home first and second, 73 from 52 in ST. Let's go down for a Continental Tire pit lane update. Nate Stacey is with Shea Adam. He must have been holding his breath there, Shea.
He was. I don't think you breathed for about the last 10 minutes at least, Nate. That was an exciting finish to the race. It wasn't running out of fuel for Kyle, though. What was it that happened on the last lap?
So coming into turn 1, we had a bit of an issue. Kyle comes on the radio and says something broke in the front left, and he was able to hold on to it just long enough to get past the finish line and hold him. Dean Martin called that race perfectly. Fuel strategy was amazing, off the charts. Everyone here, Scudo Racing was awesome. The Continental tires were amazing, held on amazingly for the entire race. The Ford was great. Roush performance was awesome to us. MGW shifters. Everyone here at the Roush Core team is just ecstatic for 2 in a row.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And got all the sponsors in as well. Well, my apologies, it looked so much because he was weaving around like a fuel problem. Great driving by Kyle Marcelli. Pat Gallagher just about holding on. And what about the TCRs? Last half a lap, mile and a half, if that, from the end of the race. And the 74 car just going a little bit deep into turn 9, excuse me. Oh, now, was there a yellow flag at turn 9 for the Aston Martin? And will that be allowed to stand? That was me just thinking out loud there. So we may have yet more drama. Kyle Marcelli has picked up the checkered.
Really?
Well, we had drama before the checkered flag with the before the green flag with the 69 not getting into its right position. They, by the way, have come home in 13th, having started at the back of their grid, which is a pretty good drive through for them. Drama throughout the race, and perhaps drama post-race as well.
Wow.
Damien Faulkner did hold on to 5th ahead of Spencer Pumpelly in 6th. Hugh Plum for TGM in 4th, with Owen Trinkler just 1 place off the podium. Merckx in the second half of the race just didn't seem to have the pace of the other cars.
Some didn't. Really.
Until they were deeper into their stint, Jeremy. Even Indy Donchi didn't come on until later on. Let's pick up some more interviews, and the Continental Tire pit lane reporter, Shea Adam, has with Britt Casey Jr., did you say?
Yes, I did.
Winner in TCR then?
It was a big redemption for Britt because he put the car on pole. Tom drove it. It looked like it was going to be a second place. And then the inverse is Sebring. When you guys lost it on the last lap, now all of a sudden you won on the last lap. Feeling pretty good.
Yeah, it feels pretty incredible. That was a fight from, I mean, we got punted at, I think, 27 minutes in, and it was head down the entire time. So the 93 minutes that were left in the race, I mean, it came down to the last lap, and it's pretty evident that we used every lap we could. So we were watching the times. The gap kept getting closer and closer, and yeah, I don't really know what to say right now.
Understandably, 2 wins out of 3 races. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Jeez.
I think sometimes it's worse not being in the car, Jeremy, than it is being in the car when something like that's happening. Yes. At least you have a modicum of control over what is going on. Let me run down for you what's happening. ST 73 Mini from 53 Mini from 81 BMW. Well done to those guys. They put on a great show all the way through. TCR changing on the last lap. 3rd place for Pierre Kleinebing's 75 Audi. Then the 74. It's all Compass Racing, by the way. 74 Kuno Whitmer looked like they had it until about a mile and a bit from the end of the race, and Tom Long nipped through at the end. So 74 in second, 77 win. In 3rd place overall and in GS, Tyler Cook with the drive of his life in the number 82 BMW M4, pulling back to 3rd position. Patrick Gallagher, having led the race for such a long time in the number 8 Ford, done right at the end by a charging Kyle Marcelli, who was by far one of the most impressive drives I've seen from that young man, who's had some pretty impressive drives in his past as well. And it's the 60 Ford that takes the win for Roush and for Core Motorsport. That does what to the championship table, Jeremy, before we hand over for the podium very quickly?
Well, in ST, Matt Pomba and Mike Lamara now they went from 4th in the points to 1st on 93. Teammate Mark Pomba has 92. Nick Gallant and David Jones, who started on the pole, he have 91. And the former championship leaders, Max Faulkner and Jason Rabe, have 90 points. So that's pretty remarkable. 1 point between each of the top 4. In TCR, Rodrigo Sales and Kuna Whitmer will maintain a championship lead despite losing this race on the last lap to Tom Long and Britt Casey. The gap between them just 3 points. In overall, Dylan McIvern and Spencer Papelli will retain the championship lead, but it's now 8 points between themselves and James Clay and Tyler Cook, who move up from 3rd to 2nd. In 3rd place in the points, the double race winners now, Nate Stafferty and Kyle Marcelli, jumping from 8th to 3rd on 78 points, so 12 behind the leader.
Hearing that that will have to be renewed. The 77 car will not get the win. Pass under yellow at the end of the race, as I thought. As soon as we got the replay of that in the booth, I thought to myself, there's an Aston Martin there, isn't there? I bet there's a yellow flag out, and sure enough there was. So that will probably be rehashed, and Kuno Whitmer could yet be the winner of that, which will change the points just a wee bit. Jeremy, we'll get into that next time that we talk. Brilliant race, absolutely brilliant race for the Mid-Ohio 120 for the IMSA Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge round number 3. Thanks to all of our marshals and volunteer officials. The track services guys as well did a great job, and also to the teams and drivers. Shea Adam was our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. Jeremy Shaw was alongside me, John Hindhaugh, in the IMSA Radio Broadcast Centre. We'll say goodbye for now, but remind you that we have plenty more action right through the weekend here on RS2, IMSA Radio and IMSA TV, and for the rest of the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. Here at the track, it's time for the podium with Tony Laporta, but from us here on IMSA Radio and TV, it's bye for now.